Hello there and welcome to Network Africa on Channels Television with me, Cynthia, and also welcome to the second half of the year 2015. Topping our news today is Tunisia. Now, it's no longer a matter of speculation. It's been confirmed that the gunman who carried out the massacre in Tunisia last Friday was trained by the Islamic State in Libya. Then, according to the UNHCR, 135,000 illegal migrants successfully crossed the Mediterranean in the first half of 2015. And following the UN allegations which say that South Sudan government troops abused women and also burned some alive, the president of the world's newest country fires back. Again, you're welcome to the 1st July 2015 edition of Network Africa. Now, we start with what's happening around the world. It's no longer up for debate as investigations carried out by the Tunisian government have confirmed that the Tunisian man or gunman who carried out a deadly attack on a hotel last Friday was trained in a jihadist camp in Libya last year. The death toll from the assault on the Imperial Beach Hotel in the resort town of Sousse was revised down on Tuesday to 38 from a previously given figure of 39. However, one thing which remains the same is the fact that most of the victims were British tourists. We understand that out of the 38 dead, 27 were British nationals. A spokesman for the Prime Minister said the gunman who was killed by police following the rampage was in Libya at the same time as the two Tunisian gunmen who subsequently stormed the Tunis Bardo Museum back in March. Now, speaking of Islamic State, the militants launched a wide-scale coordinated assault on several military checkpoints in Egypt's North Sinai, in which 50 people were killed. It's important to note that today's incident is the largest attack yet in the insurgency-hit province. It is the second high-profile attack in Egypt this week, following the murder of the prosecutor general who was killed in a car bombing in Cairo. In the first official reaction to this incident, Egypt's Prime Minister Ibrahim Malab says his country is in a state of war. These attacks are raising questions about the government's ability to contain a Sinai-based insurgency that has already killed hundreds of police and soldiers. Islamic State's Egyptian affiliate Sinai province claimed responsibility for the attacks in a Twitter statement. Well, joining us again on the program to shed more light on what's happened in Egypt is the VOA's terrorism and security expert, Jeffrey Young. Jeffrey, thank you very much for joining us again on Network Africa.
It's a pleasure, as always.
Thank you. Now, 2 days ago, we talked about what interest the Islamic State has in Tunisia. Now we're seeing that Egypt is under fire from the group. What interest does ISIS have in Egypt?
Let me explain it to you this way from my years of living in that part of the world and absorbing Arab culture and intellectual thought. Egypt is the crown jewel of the Arab world. It has been the center of intellectualism. It has been the center of culture. For the Islamic State to somehow gain control of Egypt would mean that it would capture the heart, the very heart of the Arab world. Yes, Makkah is the center of Islam, but the center of all of what is Arab, its thoughts, its feelings, its entertainment, its music, its culture, it's Egypt. And for that reason, this is a huge prize for the Islamic State. There's other factors as well, because obviously by capturing as much of Egypt as possible, this opens a corridor for Islamic State bad actors and other terrorists from Libya and other places to pour into the region. But I go back to my central thought. Egypt is the crown jewel of the Arab world. This is one of the reasons, a big reason, why they want it.
Well, now that it's come to light that ISIS uses Libya as a training ground for some of its fighters, what should be done?
Clearly, what has to be done is you identify where these people are and you kill them on the spot. Now, this takes a lot of effort and a lot of work. Obviously, obviously, the Egyptian military has to be out front, but it can't just be driving around looking for these people. This is all done through intelligence. And obviously, you need the highest levels of intelligence and information possible. May I suggest that it is probably a practical working situation where intelligence may be provided by others to the Egyptian military. For instance, you intercept electronic communications that indicate that you have Islamic State people in this place or that place, or you have satellite imagery, you have other intel. Egypt may not have these assets, but others do, and they may well be working in cooperation. But in order to stop the flow from Libya, you have to build a wall, so to speak. You have to stop the physical flow, the physical movement of people from Libya. And again, this can be done on the ground with military, but in order for the military to be effective, it all comes back to the use of intelligence. And that's the central point here.
Well, Jeffrey, I hear what you're saying about intel, but ISIS does seem to be a step ahead to some extent. There will obviously be a need to boost efforts to counter the group, like you say, in terms of intelligence. But do we need to see more investment in other areas?
It's clear that you have to hit these people with kinetic energy. This is a military term for you got to shoot them and kill them, okay? Obviously, Egypt has to deploy military forces, capable, trained military forces that can go westward into the area toward Libya and also eastward into the Sinai. It is incredibly important for Egypt to facilitate and empower and use these resources. And they have to do this. They have a large military. They have an incredible amount of equipment. We, the United States, has sold them billions and billions of dollars worth of gear, and we've trained them and we've worked with them. Now we need to see to put this in practice. Also, going along with this, obviously, as is true in what's going on in Iraq and Syria, you also need a deployment of very specific U.S. assets and capabilities.
Wow.
You have special operations people, you have special forces people. I cannot speak for the Pentagon, but common sense says that you put the best of what Egypt has up front, and you put other assets, including intelligence and special forces, side by side, and this is how you fashion and make the tip of the spear.
Well, Jeffrey Young, thank you so much for joining us again on the program. We appreciate your time and input. Thank you. The Voice of America's Jeffrey Young reporting from Washington, D.C. Well, coming up on Network Africa, it's the second half of the year, and according to the UNHCR, a whopping 135,000 illegal migrants successfully crossed to Europe. Details in just a moment.